I'm going to show you how to make your own 100% free local AI that has a verb spinner, just like Claude Code, that saves your chat history and answers based on the context you have given it. So let's go. I want to assume that you've already worked with Ollama and you know how to pull the model and you know how to do simple stuff, and just like having a chit chat with it and also answering some simple questions. What you've noticed is that it's not really like ChatGPT, Claude, or all the AIs that you can drag some file and drop it in your terminal and ask a question based on that. It's not gonna work like that. You can see it in this graph that I brought it's actually about the user asking a question, giving the prompt, and AI looks at it and answers based on what it knows. What we are going to do is actually to bring the context into this and tell the AI, hey, when you're listening to my prompt, I want you to look at the context as well, pull the information and answer me based on those. This is one thing we're going to do. And the other one is having another file that is going to remember the conversations that you had with the AI. Basically, every time you ask a question and you get an answer, is going to be recorded in a JSON list file and is going to be placed in your project folder. If you want to look at this deeper, I brought this image here that it shows what exactly is going to happen here. So whenever the user asks a question, it goes to the processing hub, and in this processing hub, there are two other parameters that are going to affect your prompt. One of them is going to be the context and also the history of the conversations that you had. Basically, these two are going to affect the question that you're going to ask the AI. They're going to the processing hub, they are going to be augmented as a prompt and then fed to the AI so that you get a purposeful and a meaningful answer from the AI. What we are going to call all of this system that you most probably have heard it so far is going to be a Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or simply RAG. And how we can actually do this in our local PC, I'm going to show you. So if you check out the description, you're gonna find my GitHub page that I've already put the code in there, and you can clone it and start using it. So you're going to actually find the link, so clone it simply over here. This is exactly how you're going to start it. This is the code. I'm not going through all of that. The brain of this code is going to be here. Basically, the model is, I put it on Llama 3.2 because I didn't want to have like a heavy model that it takes ages to get an answer, but you can change it to Gemma or Quen or whatever the models that you want. The other one is the history turn. You want how many texts or messages that you've had, or the interactions that you had with AI, to be loaded every time you get an answer from AI. I've already put it on 10, but it's up to you how many you want. And also the maximum characters that you want to be read. I know 3,000 characters is actually nothing, but like I wanted to have a very fast reactions with the AI. You can increase it as much as you want. To get this running, we are creating two folders. One of them is gonna be context, and the other one is going to be our memory. You need to have these two folders to actually get it run. In the memory folder, we are going to create a new file that we are going to call it a summary.md. It's a markdown file that actually helps you to give your AI a character. So what projects you are working on, or what exactly is important every time you interact with this AI. It's basically, if you worked with Claude Code, you know the file Claude MD, and there you can actually introduce the tools and all the requirements that you want from the AI. This is mainly that. What I'm going to use Alfred, because this is going to be my assistant, to become my YouTube assistant. So what I'm giving here is going to be a very simple, say, description, what I want from it. I'm just gonna give that. I know it's not really a meaningful description or character for the AI, but I'm gonna simply just say it's all right. As you notice, I don't have any context in here. What I'm going to do is actually just copy my code and then paste it in this folder. So I'm going to ask the AI about the code that it already runs on. Okay, so now we are going to call the Python to open Alfred, and let's see how it's gonna work. The first thing that pops up is a sentence that I put it there to show that the AI is running and there's no problem, and it actually works perfectly. There are two things that you need to know. We already don't have the JSON list file, but it's going to be created the first time that we are going to interact with the AI. What I'm going to ask is based on the context. So based on the context that you have, I want you to analyze the code, a short script, how to present this code on YouTube, or some CEO help. I'm just gonna go with that, and then I'm just gonna enter it. You can see this nice verb spinner. It actually gives you the vibe that you're working with Claude Code. It read my SEO as CEO. Okay, I'd be happy to help with analyzing the code and providing suggestions. That's actually a good point, because it shows that it read the context for us and is answering based on that. You can actually see there is one file that is been created after we had the first interaction that saves every time you talk to the AI, that has your role and also the assistant role that answered you with the text. Also gave us the answer. It's not important what the answer for me is, because it depends on the model and also the resources that it has been trained with. But now we know that it reads the context and also saves the conversations that we have. What I'm going to test here is actually to see if it has this illusion of memory because of the history JSON list that we created, or it doesn't remember what we talked about. So we had some conversations previously, and now I want you to recommend me some thumbnail styles. Let's see what happens. It should remember that we talked about a YouTube video, and also I'm glad we had previous conversations based on discussions about creating a YouTube video from your code. I'd be happy to help with some thumbnail styles. What we have created is actually a simple 100% free and also private chatbot with a memory that you can use for your sensible documents. I hope you liked it, and thanks a lot.